Carson?
Town. He took the night flight to Sao Paulo with some girl. I think her name was Tina.
How do you know that?
It's my job to know.
And who are you?
Jake Stiles. We met, you remember?
Vividly. Why is it your job to know?
He's my personal investigator, that's why.
I was wondering when you were going to get here. I was thinking maybe you weren't going to make it. Did you get stuck in the traffic? Mr. Warfield, good luck. I'll talk with you later.
Would you like to explain to me why you're here?
She must have been a hell of a woman for Carson to walk out on you.
Well, if you'll excuse me.
In answer to your question, I'm here to see you. To say a few things to you now that I won't be able to say in courts.
Don't make threats, Mr. McCabe.
I don't make threats. This is a subpoena. I'm putting you on the stand, and I want you to know why. Mrs. Warfield, I've spent most of my life as a cop and a DA chasing killers and thieves. And as despicable as they were, most of them were forced into crime by poverty and desperation. But that's no excuse for someone like you. You've had it handed to you all the way, and you turned out to be the worst of the lot. You're a calculating, cold-blooded killer. You murdered a good man, a man you professed to love. I have no sympathy for you. So I'm going to take you apart, like a clock, expose you to the world, and let everybody see exactly what you are, and just how you tick.
Are you through?
Yes, until I see you in court.
You're forgetting something, Mr. McCabe. You're not district attorney anymore, so you won't be in court.
Mrs. Warfield, you do realize that you're all alone now. And Mrs. Warfield, have you noticed that strange smell in the air? Do you know what it is? It's fear.
I can't believe it. Carson Warfield and Rebecca, I just can't believe it.
I want to be reinstated as district attorney. I want to go back on the Carter case. Here.
What is this?
Well, it's my letter of, you know, I'm agreeing to resign.
I just don't know if I can do that.
Frank, I've done a pretty good job for this city for the last 20 years, but if I can't bring Rebecca Warfield down, I'm through. You're rid of me. Now reinstate me.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
We have a lot to talk about today, haven't we, Deputy Mayor Warfield?
Mr. McCabe, I'm here to do anything I can to help.
I'm sure you are. Oh, I've got something I want to show you. Now, these jewels, which were found in Todd Carter's apartment and marked People's Exhibit number 27, do you recognize them?
Yes, they belong to John, my late husband, and me. We kept them in the safe at our home.
Huh. Good, thank you. Now, this piece of paper, also taken from Todd Carter's apartment, People's Exhibit number 14. You recognize the combination that's written on it?
It's the combination to the safe at our house.
Mm-hmm. You told the authorities that you were in your office the complete day and evening, the evening of the 28th. Is that correct?
Yes.
The mayor called to tell you of your husband's death. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
You told the authorities that you didn't see Carson Warfield all that day. Isn't that right?
That's accurate.
Uh-huh. Carson rented apartment number 21 at the Amsterdam Apartments at 319 Sycamore Street. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
It says he rented the apartment 10 days before the murder. Is that right?
I don't know when he rented it.
Well, I have a copy of his lease right here, and interestingly enough, when you rent one of these apartments, you can have maid service if you want it, and Carson didn't want to take it. Now, don't you think that odd?
If you say so.
Oh, no, no. I don't say so. What do you say?
I say not particularly.
Not particularly. Thank you. You see, if he had taken maid service, then I wouldn't have in my hand here a receipt for shotgun shells about just a few days before the murder. Shells loaded with double-aught buckshot, just like the buckshot that killed your husband. Miss Grant, will you please stand? Do you recognize this woman?
I'm not sure.
Well, this woman, Katie Grant, resides at the Amsterdam Apartments in apartment 35.
Oh, yes, I remember. We spoke once.
Well, Miss Grant is prepared to go on the stand and testify that she saw you and Carson on the evening of the murder at the Amsterdam Apartments. Yet you've told us that you were working throughout that evening and that you didn't see Carson at all that day. Now, you lied, didn't you?
I lied.
You lied because you had something to hide. You had a fatal attraction, you and Carson Warfield. You were lovers. Isn't that correct?
No, that's not true.
You both killed your husband because he found out. And then you robbed the safe and planted evidence on Todd Carter. Isn't that correct?
No, that's not true.
You lied about where you were that day. You lied about seeing Carson and your relationship with him, and you're lying now! You killed your husband, didn't you?
I didn't kill him. Carson did. I was with Carson that night. He called me to come over. He was very upset. He'd had a fight with John. Things had been strained between them for some time. He asked me to speak to John on his behalf, and of course I agreed. He's my stepson.
But you lied to the police.
Yes. To me, this was a private family matter. Carson and his father fought. Yes, there'd been threats, but this happens at some time in most families. Mr. McCabe, I didn't think at the time that Carson had murdered John. The safe had been robbed. Everyone assumed that it was Todd Carter. I did.
So Carson killed your husband?
Yes.
He robbed the safe and planted the evidence on Todd Carter?
Yes.
And Leon Banks, what about him?
Carson hired him to keep Todd occupied that night. Later, he paid him off to say he wasn't with him.
Leon Banks was later killed.
by Carson.
And the prostitute, Lana Kent.
He killed her to discredit you.
Why didn't you come forward with this evidence before?
You have to believe me. I only found out this morning.
Really? And how was that?
Carson called. I don't know where he was calling from. He was very upset. He'd said he'd run away. He was crying. And then he told me everything. It was awful. I begged him to turn himself in. He said he couldn't face that. I said if he didn't, that I would have to go to the police myself, which I did this morning. I made a complete statement to Lieutenant Peters.
And you had no part in this?
No, I have sworn to the truth. Ask Carson, find him, ask him. Help him to confess.
No further questions?
Cross-examine.
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Your Honor, I call Carson Warfield to the stand. Mr. Warfield, you haven't been traveling abroad for the last 24 hours, have you?
What does that mean? You guys picked me up for some outstanding traffic violations. You've been herding me around from jail to jail all night. What is this?
Your Honor, I would like to have Rebecca Warfield's testimony read back to this witness, please. Start with
Question. So Carson Warfield killed your husband? Answer, yes. Question. He robbed the safe and planted the evidence on Todd Carter? Answer, yes. Question. And Leon Banks, what about him? Answer, Carson hired him to keep Todd Carter occupied that night. Then Leon was paid off to say he wasn't with him. Question. Leon Banks was later killed? Answer, by Carson. Question. And a prostitute, Lana Kent? Answer, he killed her to discredit you. Question. And you had no part in this? Answer, no.
Mr. Warfield, your stepmother has seen fit to come forward with the truth about your father's murder.
Well, she left out one detail.
Really? What was that?
She pulled the trigger on my old man.
Well done.
Mr. McCabe, you were brilliant in court. Finding that surprise witness blew the case wide open.
You mean this witness? This is Katie Grant. I planted her in the building. She works undercover downtown in Division 1.
Please have a seat.
And as of now, she's all yours. Well, I mean your own personal investigator.
Hey, Max. So, JL, how's Max doing? Is he eating it?
No, neither JL nor I have had any luck so far.
Yeah, I bet I can make him eat.
You?
Yeah.
What's the bet?
1 week's vacation.
You got it.
1 week.
1 week.
Don't move.
I won't move.
What the hell's he do?
I have no idea. Cheers. Oh, my. What is
Max?
this?
Oh,
Oh,
Max?
my God.
Meet Maxie.
Go on, Max. What we have here is a fatal attraction.
Cheers.
And to you, too.